Hey, what's going on, guys? Austin Distel here with the Entrepreneur Alliance, and I've got Alex Schlinsky here, coming all the way from Tampa, Florida. We're going to be talking about how to find your niche for your digital marketing agency. Now, we got all of the Entrepreneur Alliance live on this call, so we got 27 attendees right now, and the number keeps going up. I wish you saw this live because it was a lot of fun, but we're going to have the recorded version now put up here into the members portal. So if you're watching this in the recorded version, you're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to get some really good content here. Now, let me tell you a little about Alex, because this is a groundbreaking day here for EA. Alex is an Encore coach. He's the first time that we've ever brought in another Entrepreneur Alliance Masterclass host to come in and do another training. And so it's really exciting here because Alex has been one of the most influential people here in the Entrepreneur Alliance that is always providing a lot of content, especially with Prospecting on Demand as his company. They've been helping a lot of digital marketers find their clients. And in fact, he's helped over 50 digital marketers find their first clients. So I think that's a really cool goal that he's been able to hit. On top of that, his personal company has been growing 10,000 a month and over and over and over again for the last 6 months. So it's just massive growth over the past year or so, and just really cool to see his journey and progression. So I think he's a great role model to look forward to and what you can become with digital marketing, but also as a really good thought leader for the niches in this space, what's working right now, what's not working. And last time, we brought Alex in on LinkedIn prospecting, which many of you guys have dominated after this past training. And so we had to bring him in for another one. This one's going to be on niching. So Alex, so glad to have you here, man. Welcome to another EA Masterclass.
Austin, I appreciate it, guys. So happy to be here. We've got 30 people now on this live. Appreciate you all guys showing up here, taking some time out of your day. If you're watching on replay, we understand you might be busy, but we'll still get you that good content. No worries. Happy to be here, guys. Definitely excited to share with you this document, share with you some of this information. For everyone that is watching live, please understand we are doing this for a reason live. We want you guys to engage with us. We want you to ask us questions. We want you to be here and let us know what you think. This is for you. We are doing this for you guys 100%. So feel free to let us know where you're at in the chat. Feel free to ask any questions. We'll go through it as I'm actually going through the document, which I'll share my screen here in just a minute. I'll go through one slide maybe at a time, look back at the chat, answer your guys' questions, and we'll go through that. If we end the 10 niches, before the hour's up, we can absolutely do a Q&A, talk about some things, and hopefully help you guys niche down, start prospecting a little more effectively, and start building your business and building your revenue every month.
Guys, I'm looking forward to this one. And yeah, be interactive here in the comment section. And I think probably every 10 to 15 minutes, or at least on the topics, we'll be hopping into the chat and then be doing kind of Q&A, especially a lot of Q&A at the end. But if it's a relevant topic around what we're talking about now, we'll go ahead and bring that into the conversation. So Alex, you got some screen shares to show us, right?
Yep, and let's get that started here right now. And
Sweet.
While I open this up, and Austin, if you're monitoring the chat and you see a question while I'm going through this, you just let me know and I'll make sure to answer it.
You got it, buddy.
All right, guys, can you see this? Let's get a yes if we can all see this.
All right, lots of yeses. Yes, 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 baby. I like that. All right, guys. Sweet.
All right, guys, so let's jump right into this. Let's get started here. Obviously, this is the top 10 digital marketing niches in 2017 and beyond. The idea here is, guys, to make sure that you can continually find niches, find business owners that will be easy to prospect to and easy to get money from, easy to bring on as new clients. That's the idea. So let's talk about what determines a good niche in the first place. As I said yesterday on that quick sneak peek live, you've heard it time and time again. You have to specialize in a niche for your digital marketing agency to stand a chance. Now, probably you've heard this from every thought leader in the entrepreneur market, in the digital marketing world. Obviously, Dave Rogan-Moser, you've probably heard it from Austin, Dan Henry, Frank Kern, Gary Vaynerchuk. Everyone that anyone has followed in the entrepreneur and DM space has said this before. And they don't say it because it's hogwash. It's the truth. Now, the problem with niching is that most people believe when they get started, well, why don't I just take any client that breathes? Any client that walks or moves, anyone that has a pulse, let me work with them. If they are willing to pay me, I'll take it. But that's not the way to grow a business. Can you be successful by having 5 different clients and 5 different niches? Absolutely. But I'm going to share with you a little bit of the pitfalls of why you want to specialize here in just a second. Before I do that, I want to tell you 3 qualifications of what you need to consider as to what would be a good niche in the first place. First of all, let's talk about them being easy to prospect to and the decision maker is readily available. You need to make sure that this company, the person or niche that you're reaching out to, are easy to find online, whichever methods you're using to prospect, whether it's LinkedIn, cold emails, whether it is inbound lead generation through ads, whether it is in-person canvassing, whether it is cold calling. Please don't do that. But if it is, whatever it may be, you need to make sure that they're easy to prospect to. You can find them in your prospecting methods. And the decision maker, the person that's going to sign that check or pay you on the dotted line, that needs to be readily available. So who does that exclude? Well, as many of you know, that probably excludes lawyers, right? That probably excludes dentists. Does that mean they're not a good niche at all? Absolutely not. They're just harder to get started with. So consider what I'm saying here. Number 2, they can actually afford your $1,000 to $3,000 a month pricing. Some of you may have a slightly lower pricing, some of you may have slightly higher pricing, but this is the average you see in the digital marketing space for, PPC advertising, SEO, funnel creation, etc. Right? You got to make sure that they can afford it. Meaning, if you're working with a company that their average transaction, which if you see number 3 below, if their average transaction is $200 to $300, maybe you can get them a return. However, if their average transaction is $10, maybe it's a restaurant, are you going to be able to get them a return? Are you going to be able to get them 100 to 200 clients to get them that return on the investment? Think about how to make your life and job easier. That's the idea. As I said, number 3 is to have a high transaction value per sale. So it's easy to get results. It's easy to get a return on the investment. You want to make this job as easy as possible for you. So let me just tell you real quick why you should be specializing in the first place. And I think it really comes down to each step of the process. In my opinion, there's a couple steps here for bringing on a client and retaining a client. First is prospecting, right? Reaching out to someone, making sure that they're qualified to become a lead. Then the lead qualification comes on a sales call. In that sales call, 2 things happen. They either agree to work with you or they don't. And then once they are working with you, now you need to retain them, right? Prospecting is not just about bringing on a client, losing that client, and then trying to recoup that revenue. It's building a pyramid, right? You want to have a foundation, and then you build on that foundation, meaning retention is extremely important. Let me tell you why on each piece of the scale, why they're so important to specialize. 1, in prospecting, if you know your customer avatar really well, you understand their pain points, you understand what's the business problem that they're having, it's going to be a lot easier for you to resonate with them in any prospecting that you do. The same holds true for the sales calls. Let's imagine for a second you have 3 sales calls today. One of them is with a financial planner, one of them is with a lawyer, and one of them is with a dentist. All 3 of them have completely different business models, right? All 3 of them have completely different pain points. They may all need new leads, but one of them calls them clients. One of them calls them patients. One of them is struggling because they're trying to do digital advertising and it's not working. One's only done traditional advertising and that's not working. If you go through all 3 of those calls, back to back to back, let's say, what can you learn from that first call and then on that second call? The answer is probably not much because it's not the same type of call. In my business, when I'm speaking to people like yourself, entrepreneurs and marketers and people that are struggling with prospecting for their business, I already know my customer avatar so well because I've had the same conversation 1,000 times. It makes my business a lot easier. And I promise you, if you specialize, it's going to make your business a lot easier. The same holds true for retention. If you're bringing on clients and they're all different businesses, you're going to have to do different type of work for each one of them. A different type of funnel, different type of ads, different type of follow-up. It's going to make your life and job so much harder. If you have all the same type of clients, you can replicate your strategies and be successful. So please, believe me, niching and specializing is key. So let's continue here. Before reading on, you're probably wondering who the heck is this guy? If you have not watched me on the EA Masterclass or you haven't seen anything regarding prospecting on demand, I want to let you know, guys, I know what I'm talking about. Let me alleviate your fears. If that's not good enough, again, guys, Alex Schlinsky here, founder of Prospecting on Demand. It's an online mastermind and boot camp for digital marketers and entrepreneurs trying to find the very best lead generation methods. So if you guys are ready to find your blue ocean in the digital marketing sphere, let's talk about the top 10 niches right now. Let's do it. Here, guys, are the top 10 digital marketing niches in 2017. We've got real estate, we've got automotive, we've got luxury goods, we've got financial, home services, mental health counseling, legal, photography, fitness, and event planning. Now, if you guys are looking at these and wondering, some of these may not fit in those qualifications, I'm going to explain to you each one of these in detail. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat below, and we will make sure to get to you. Austin, just let me know if you need me to stop, and we'll get to you guys, all right? Let's get started here with the first niche, and this is real estate. I've already seen a couple people in the chat mention they've been doing real estate. Real estate is one of my favorite niches altogether. It is such a powerful opportunity. First of all, guys, it's an emerging industry in the digital marketing space. There's about 2 million active real estate licensees in the United States right now. There is so much fish in the sea for you guys. Even if the competition is going after real estate, there is plenty of real estate agents available. Not just agents, also the companies as a whole. If you're just getting started in your marketing business, don't consider going after the companies. And I'm talking about companies that have maybe 10 to 15 agents, none of the large companies that have thousands. You're not going to be the company that works with them. I assure you. Trust me on that. Now, if they have 10 to 15 agents and you've worked with 2 or 3 of them and helped them get results, you might be able to work with the entire company. Consider that and understand how much growth your business will achieve if you have the company rather than just the agent. Think about what that is. Now, why is real estate a good industry? The high transaction value. We always are preferring niches that have a high transaction value for 2 reasons. 1, they can afford your services, as we said, each and every month. And 2, it takes fewer leads and sales to be considered successful. With real estate, sometimes if you bring on buyers or sellers leads and one deal closes in a 30 to 60 day period, you've already gotten a return on the investment from the $1,000 to $2,000 price point they've paid you. That is incredibly powerful. That means you could really technically do an awful job doing the marketing, get them one opportunity, and you've gotten them a return. That's how easy real estate is to get your return on the investment and make this job, more financially protective for you and the client. Next is low competition. Generating buyer and seller leads is pretty easy right now through Facebook and Google Ads. The reason why is real estate's still kind of transitioning, as I said, into the digital marketing world. It still is an emerging industry. There obviously are a lot of different types of ways for real estate agents to do marketing. You see them on Zillow. You see them on those types of websites. You see them doing traditional marketing, radio advertising, selling their own real estate services. There's so many different types of real estate business models. But the best part is, it's so easy right now to get local advertising going for buyers or sellers leads on Facebook or Google. I've seen Facebook be a little bit more successful here in this industry, especially for buyers leads. Really, really great. And I strongly recommend it. A simple strategy for you guys to utilize: local ads on Facebook, 20 to 25 mile radius, quick, simple opt-in funnel, and then an email follow-up, anywhere from 2 to 4 emails, and you've got a really nice little funnel and campaign going for you to start generating leads. Now, I always want to give you guys the knowledge of what to watch out for. I don't want to pretend, that every niche that I'm going to bring to the table here is just absolutely perfect. There's nothing at all wrong with them or nothing to look out for. That's not true. There's no such thing. So I always want to give you guys a quick clarification of what you may want to watch out for. Watch out for large firms. Like I said, there are 86,000 brokerage firms in the United States, and most contract out large companies to handle their marketing. If you guys, be honest with yourself, if you guys are a team that have 5 to 10 people or less, 1 to 3 people on your team, you're not going to be working with a brokerage firm that has 200 agents. It's just be realistic. Be realistic. Doesn't mean you can't get there. Doesn't mean the opportunity won't eventually come, but be realistic with where you're at in your company right now. So go after smaller firms or the individual agents first, guys, okay? So that is real estate. If there's any questions, feel free to throw them in below. We'll answer them.
And, hey, Alex, why don't you bring up back your face, and we'll do maybe 1 or 2 minutes of Q&A with each one.
Beautiful. Let's do it.
Sweet. So I want to kind of like clarify this, and this is going to be for all these niches, especially local ones. But um, one of the biggest questions that I've always seen is, Austin, I don't want to niche down because I feel like that's going to limit the number of people I can accept because I don't want to accept all these competitors in my local area, right? Like they feel like they're limiting the number of clients they could potentially get because of competition within their own clients. So, Alex, what do you think about that? Is it limiting or is it actually the best way to scale?
It's a really good question. It's tough to answer, to be fair, because competition obviously is something you can't ignore. But I really try to ignore it, like very much so, because that's out of my control. I'm focusing on what I can do better and what I can do better for my clients. Does that mean you should have a real estate agent that's in the same exact place, selling the same exact thing, and knowing that you're like doing, the Venn diagram and kind of competing with each other? Is that the ethical thing to do? Probably not. Can you get them results and both get them an ROI? If you can, then it doesn't matter, right? As my thing is all about integrity, guys. It's very important to me that when I'm bringing on clients, it's not like, hey, open up your wallet, put it in my pocket, and screw you. That's not it. It's when you come work with me, I want to make sure I can get you a return. That matters to me. You're not coming to me to pay me for nothing. I want to make a difference for you and your company. Now, if that means that, I have two auto repair shops that are, across the street from each other, maybe it's not fair for me to be working with both of them. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's not a fair thing to do. So be logical, be a little bit understanding of what the opportunity is there. Real estate, it's a competitive market. No matter what you do, it's competitive. If you've got a guy that's, 1 mile away and the other guy's 5 miles away, and you do a month campaign and realize every single one of the leads are exactly the same, the burden's on you to be honest with your customers and be like, look, we're working also with someone in this area. I don't know if this is a smart thing to do. Either one, we can move your, target audience a little bit further outside of this radius, or we can talk about what the next opportunities are. But you got to be realistic with your customers and yourself. Be fair. Don't be the schemer that puts a bad eye on everyone else in the marketing industry because I can get the clients. So who cares? Don't do that.
Yeah, so this is my sales technique that I always liked, and I really enjoy having a local business that would have competitors. Is I tell them that they can lock out their competition. So I have, let's say, where's my consultation cheat sheet? I've got it around here. So let's just say though that this is a case study I have of a chiropractor, just to use it as an example, or since we're on real estate, we'll use this as an example. Right? So I would be like, hey, this is Tim Ferriss. He's an Alpharetta real estate agent back in Atlanta. And I was able to get him 25 leads a week for his real estate agency at Mark Spain. And, he only works in the Alpharetta area. Now, being that you're in Kennesaw, that would be a completely separate market. And I could get you very similar results as I got for Tim here in Alpharetta as I could for you in Kennesaw. Now, I will definitely sign a client here in Kennesaw. And so if you would like your competition to get similar results as Tim here that I got in Alpharetta, then up in Kennesaw, that could either be you or another person. But I have 5 consultations set up this week with other Kennesaw real estate agents. And so if you would like to lock out your competition, we can talk about that. I'll show you the campaign that I use.
That's so strong. And it's also great use of scarcity model to express to them, like, guys, you got to make the decision now. Like, it's either you that's going to get the leads or someone else. And when you're that confident, not coming off in a cocky or arrogant way, like, well, if you don't want them, we're going to go elsewhere. It's a way that Austin just said it in reality, in truth. It's like, look, to be honest with you, you can make the choice yourself. I'm either going to bring you the leads or someone else is going to get the leads for you. And especially so when you're making it clear that's in a different area. Really, really powerful, easy way to get people to say, okay, I'm ready to pull the trigger. Let's make this happen.
And the beautiful thing about niching, guys, is that you'll be able to, since I know what works for Tim and Alpharetta, I'll be able to copy and paste that campaign, or at least templatize it in a way that I can start to split test and understand like what really moves the needle across all my clients. And so when I see a boost in one client, maybe I do an experiment here and I see it work well, I can then apply that to other clients. And so it's really the idea that all of your clients are helping each other get better results without being competitive against each other. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about niching down is being able to templatize and then to be able to scale your results through your data and understanding that like you have more data points now across the board. But if let's say I had a real estate client, a dental client, and a chiropractic client, I'm not going to really know what moves the needle for all of them. It's like almost completely separate kinds of campaigns. Actually, they are completely separate kinds of campaigns. They might be lead generation campaigns, but ultimately what I'm doing for them is totally different. So what moves the needle on one might not do it on another. And so I really like the idea of niching. Now, when it comes to real estate agents or the real estate industry, Alex, what are the different sub niches of that? I think that we can go much deeper here. Because, for example, one of my buddies that has the office on the other side of this wall here, he's in the real estate niche, but he does specifically mortgage brokers.
Yeah.
Right. So that's like a super niche. And so when we talk about all the niches within real estate, we have investors, we have buyer side, seller side, and mortgage brokers, appraisers, all kinds of different people. Do you think that there is money deep in this?
There's money in every single one. There's also teachers. Don't forget that. That's huge. You see radio ads all the time. At least once a month, you get a radio ad in any major city in the United States regarding flipping homes. You know why? Because the opportunity to teach real estate as well as real estate as its own business is so insanely profitable. So both of them work. Now, the teachers are obviously the much smaller percentage. You're talking about maybe 3 to 10 in like a local area that maybe do that. Like in the EA Tampa that we did, Austin, one of the people that came teaches real estate, right? He has his own ClickFunnels membership group. He teaches real estate. We helped him generate more leads for that company, right? So there you go. That's an example right there. But like Austin said, all of those niches, sub niches inside of real estate work. In my opinion, the easiest one, the lowest hanging fruit is without a doubt home sales, obviously, because it's the most competition, the most readily available. If you simply go on Zillow, it's incredible. Here's a great prospecting tip. You go on Zillow and you click any of the houses. Look for ones that are not sold by like the larger companies, Remax or White Shirt Realty or whatever. Look for the one that's sold by the smaller company like Diamond Realty, the one that's only in Tampa, Florida, by themselves, right? And they have 6 agents. And there's Dale Carnegie. He's the guy. I know, obviously, you know that's not the name, but you get where I'm coming from. And it says his email and his phone number. I mean, it's right there in front of you. Go after it. Let him know. Hey, Dale, are you struggling to get leads for this house? I see it's on Zillow. How long's it been up? The listing actually tells you how long it's been up. If it's more than 2 months, they're struggling. So I would really go after home sales probably more than anything. Mortgage lenders are huge. Philip Calvet, POD member, also an EA, great guy. He's really working amazingly well with mortgage lenders right now, doing PPL.
Dude, that's who I'm talking about, buddy.
There you go. He's doing PPL. He's doing PPL instead of PPC. PPL, so we don't get like too down the rabbit hole. PPL is just like buying leads instead of doing like marketing campaigns for them. So he's able to spread himself to all the companies, which is something you guys can do if you're willing to invest your own finances into advertising, which is a little risky, but very profitable if you're good at it. So I love real estate. It's an amazing, amazing niche.
Awesome, man. Let's move on to the next one.
Beautiful. Let's do it, guys. Okay, so we're going to go here now to the second one, which is, and again, just let me know if everyone can see this. Just want to make sure we're all good here. And we are now on automotive. Can everyone see that? We getting any yeses here?
There we go.
All right, guys, cool. So automotive is the number 2 niche. Guys, keep in mind, by the way, just let me make this very clear. This is not in any specific order. It's just 10 niches that are really comfortable. I didn't want to do like a Sports Center top 10 thing. That's not necessary. Anyways, automotive. All right. So again, another emerging industry, the auto industry, repair shops, small and large dealerships alike, still behind the times in terms of digital marketing. Most dealers rely heavily on print marketing, so digital marketing opportunities are quite abundant. When we get off this slide, I'll actually show you. I brought a direct mail sample for you guys so you can see it, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Next is high transaction value. Again, most services and repair shops have a high profit margin besides oil changes. If you know that, by the way, that will help you when you're talking to your future customers because you understand their pain point. Are you struggling because you can't sell oil changes because it's only $20 and you're not going to make any profit on it? How can I help you get more leads for things other than oil changes, right? Good idea. Think about that process. In automotive sales, literally a single lead purchasing a new or used car could result in an ROI. It's very, very rare that you buy a car that's under $2,000. Just super rare. So they're going to make a return on the investment if you sell one car for them. I would always go after the smaller local dealerships besides for the Fords first so that you can get results. Then maybe you can get to the GM for like a larger company and see what happens. The competition, once again, very low here. Auto is still an emerging industry in digital marketing. The competition is relatively low. So while everyone else is prospecting for dentists and chiropractors, you're going to be closing dealerships left and right. For some reason, people still are not going after this. Truly a fantastic niche. Now, I want you guys to watch out for the larger auto dealerships. Skip the well-known companies like Ford, Jeep, Jaguar, etc. The mom and pop shows or shops, those are the ones that need your help best, and the ROI opportunity is still there. Let me give you two examples here. Everyone knows Pep Boys, right? Everyone knows Jiffy Lube, right? It's almost impossible for a small Mike's Auto Care shop to compete with those people and those companies. They're spending probably 100 times what he is spending in marketing. How do you understand that piece of marketing? How do you understand that competitive disadvantage they have and make it an advantage for them? How do you do it? Well, here's a very important piece of knowledge for you guys. The biggest thing here is, like I said, most companies, especially the big ones, are marketing oil changes. They're marketing oil changes for a reason because they want people to come in on a low barrier of entry, a foot in the door technique. And what do they do immediately? They either upsell you to the premium oil service that's $60 more. They tell you that your breaker fluid is low. They tell you that you need an alignment, that your transmission's busted. They're trying to upsell you on everything. Now, if you can't compete with the Jiffy Lube or Pep Boys because you're not going to be able to market oil changes for this Mike's Auto Shop, what can you offer that's still needed for this company? Google AdWords is unbelievable for the automotive industry. When people have an automotive problem, whether they need to buy a new car or they need repairs, they're not going on Facebook to randomly find a page. They're going on Google and searching repair shop near me or brakes near me or new tires or anything of that nature. Automotive is an amazing industry. I want to stop sharing my screen here for 1 second. And while I'm sharing my screen, can you guys see me?
Yep, we can at the very top.
Cool. So let me grab this real quick for you guys. You see this, guys? This is Auto Source Magazine. This is what most of these smaller companies do, like PJ's Auto World and Universal Auto Tech. These companies spend not so much money, but a decent figure to get in here. Here's the reality, though. If you're a shopper and you're looking through this is needle in the haystack marketing. They're praying that someone's going to call them. But there's 100 and 500 automotive shops in here. How are you standing out? That's your opportunity. Low-hanging fruit. Go to your local, what's it called? I would say probably local apartment complex. Look at the mail area. Most of them have these and similar types of low-hanging fruit like this as well. And this is like a flyer, similar ones for HVAC and stuff. So consider that. It's really important. Does anyone have any questions for automotive? Grocery stores have them too, Ricardo. That's very good and important. If anyone has any questions for automotive, throw them below, and we're going to continue here. We're going to move on to luxury goods. This is an amazing niche. And it's one of my favorites. I've had several clients in this niche. All of them have been easy to work with, and all of them have had unbelievable success. First of all, low-hanging fruit opportunity is right there in front of you. Mom and pop jewelers struggle against corporate companies and need your help. Other opportunities include boat, yacht sales, rental, plane sales and charters, furniture retailers, and more. Now, most people, when they think luxury goods, are thinking of, rings and jewelry shops. Don't just limit yourself to those. There's other luxury good opportunities out there. And the weird thing is, most companies are not going after them because there's a limited number. Now, if you live in somewhere like Miami, right, that means boat, yacht sale rentals and jet skis and all that. That's a really great opportunity right there for you. If you live in a place where there's no yachts or boats or that nature, there might be charters, there might be plane charters, right? These are opportunities there for you. one thing to know is that it's a little bit harder to get to the decision maker for those larger ones, the boat, yacht, sales rentals, etc. But the smaller companies, like smaller mom and pop jewelers and smaller like jet ski rentals or parasailing or that kind of stuff, very opportunistic, very good for tourists and everything of that nature. Again, another
Yeah,
high
I would throw the
transaction.
tourism market into this as well. I think that tourism is one of the, if you happen to be lucky enough to be in a tourist town, uh, all of those really cool activities and adventures that you can do need digital marketing like crazy. You go over to the scuba dive shop and you leave it, there's no retargeting, you've forgotten all about it and you're going to be, swept up by somebody else.
Exactly. And also just remember, lead with value for those people. Just because they're not going to become a client right away doesn't mean that you can't lead with value. Always with, tourists, especially tourism, go with Yelp or Google. Are they being shown when someone searches like things to do near me or the specific actual action like jet skiers near me? If they're not coming up, that is horrible for their business. They need that desperately. Tell them that, either to get them a foot in the door and put it up and do Google management for yourself and Yelp management for yourself, or let them do it themselves and realize this is not something I want to do. I'm going to hire you, right? Easy. The low competition is there. Local Facebook ads can yield incredible results here. It's just not really been utilized so much. Plus, most agencies neglect these companies, so prospecting is a lot easier. One of the companies that I worked for in the luxury goods space was a tourist attraction in Las Vegas called VOR. They were called Vegas Off-Road Racing Experience. I actually went there on a bachelor party 2 years ago, and it was an amazing experience. After the event, I went into the GM's office and I said, why have I never heard of this before? I've been to Vegas a couple times and someone just randomly found you online, but I've never heard of it. Are you guys doing marketing? Nope. They had a $10,000 marketing budget and they were never doing anything online before. They became one of our most successful clients, one of our highest paying clients too, and we still work with them today. It is that important to make sure that you understand where the opportunities lie. All I did was walk into the guy's office after I went in there and I'm like, look, I can help you fill this place every single day with opportunities. Las Vegas is a great place, tourist place. It's a perfect place to have these opportunities. Luxury goods and tourism is key. Now, I want you guys to watch out for that most owners in luxury goods space are very wary of working with companies without guarantees or past experience. Simply put, why? Their company is very valuable in terms of perception. So if you put something out there that is perceived not the way that they want it to come across, it's going to be very hard for them to trust you. So if you don't have any past experience in the niche, it might be a little bit more difficult for you to get what you need. Doesn't mean you can't do it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try. But if you go through it and you're starting to see that objection, there's one real great way to avoid that, or to overcome it rather, is find someone in your niche, or that's a digital marketer, entrepreneur, either on Entrepreneur Alliance or on a Facebook group or on a LinkedIn group or on LinkedIn itself that has worked in the luxury goods space. Offer them, a team up or a partnership for this single client. Learn from them, get a case study from them. Now you have that past experience and you can move on and be successful in the long run. Again, use price anchoring, use free trials and risk reversal to your advantage. Everything in your arsenal, in your sales arsenal that use it to your advantage because these clients are really, really great.
Also, think about a lot of opportunity here for upsells. I think that if you, let's say, for example, I just booked a surfing trip in San Diego. And so I found them through Groupon, but I couldn't find them online. First, their website sucked. Second, they had no videos and their photos seemed like they were taken on an iPhone. So great upsell there would be a promo video and do some maybe YouTube SEO. And then maybe say I'll throw in, if you do paid ads with us for Facebook, we'll use that content, promote it on Facebook. And then you could say, and for an extra $500, we'll also do Google AdWords for you, right? And so then you can start upselling and stacking there because the opportunity is instantly scalable. You go from Facebook being in one spot, now being able to use all of that content on Display Network, on YouTube, on other places, and it amplifies it dramatically. There's synergy there. If you only had Facebook or you only had AdWords, then that's a one plus one is two. But in here, if you add both of them for an extra $500, it goes from 2 to 4 to 8. There's a magnitude there that happens, especially if you get into the retargeting space.
Yeah. And most also luxury goods have massive ad budgets and marketing budgets. They're probably doing a lot of traditional marketing and don't really know what digital marketing can do. So if you go in there confident with your service and offer them a foot in the door technique, you could have a client that's paying you months and months and months and months on end. It's incredibly powerful. I strongly recommend it. One thing Austin said that I do want to touch on before I jump onto this next slide is Groupon. Groupon is unbelievable low-hanging fruit, especially in the tourist industry. You search what to do or things to do on there, there'll probably be 100 to 1,000 opportunities. Anyone that lives in Orlando, by the way, Orlando is one of the most utilized Groupon places in the world. In the world, there's probably like 50,000 Groupons in Orlando. It's unreal. In Tampa here, there's 20,000. So there's a lot of opportunity. Even if you live in a small town, there's probably some 10, 15, places you can find. Go after those people. Hey, I saw your Groupon, but I couldn't find you anywhere else online. Need some help, right? Try it out. See what happens. Let's keep this going, guys. Let's talk about the next niche. And this is financial. And this is one of my favorite niches as well. There's a couple things that I do want you guys to look out for that we'll talk about, but let's talk about why financial is very powerful. One, again, another emerging industry. Financial planners, advisors, accountants, tax professionals are all in desperate need of new lead gen tactics. And most corporate companies like Northwestern Mutual, Mass Mutual, et cetera, are expecting their employees to get their own leads. Now, when I say employees getting their own leads, sometimes they provide unqualified leads or a prospecting method that's not very powerful. And I know this from experience from working with plenty of people in those niches, including my father, who is a financial planner himself. I actually have my insurance license and financial planning license as well from working with him a couple of years ago. So I have a really good understanding of this business model and why it's so opportunistic in the digital marketing space. The search volume for financial planning is so incredibly high, considering the financial industry is a needs-based business, as we'll talk about below. There are hundreds of thousands of searches every month in the USA. What do I mean by it being a needs-based business? Every single person, without exception, needs a financial professional in their life, without a doubt. Whether it is for setting up a 401k, filing taxes properly, or finding new investment strategies, you must have a financial professional. Maybe it's someone just doing your books. Maybe it's an accountant to help you with consulting on how to build your business. Dave recommended that I use Adam Rundle. He's the guy that helps the EA team with their finances. I'm working with him now as well. That is what I'm talking about. It's a needs-based business. It's a needs-based business. Now, I found him not through online or marketing. Dave recommended him to me, right? So there's a big opportunity. Maybe Adam is someone that needs to be running ads online, right? Maybe someone could help him run ads online. Consider this. It's very, very important. And just like real estate, there's so many sub-niches. Financial planners, advisors, insurance salesmen, accountants, bookkeepers, tax professionals. The list goes on and on. It's so opportunistic. Now, what do you want to watch out for? This is one big hurdle that you need to know before you do anything in the financial space. And it may be a qualification or a hurdle or an objection that immediately excludes this from you, which is totally fine, but you have to know it before we get started here. And that is the financial industry has strict compliance rules that make marketing or advertising for them slightly more challenging. And what those compliance rules are is essentially being very, very careful with your client's important and vital information. Obviously, this type of information is extremely sensitive and cannot be let out. So you have to be very careful as to what you're offering, how you're offering something, the way that you're prospecting to people. It's really not too bad. Facebook allows advertising online for financial planners, obviously. So people have done it. You can accomplish it. Usually the number one compliance is hearsay. If you look that up, you'll be able to look it. You'll be able to find it. Any financial planner or professional that you work with will have a compliance that they have to go through. I'd say about 70 to 90% use hearsay, which is pretty simple. You just put a post in on there, tells you if it's compliant or not, and that's it. So it's not like the end of the world, but you have to know that before you get started, that there is strict compliant rules for the financial industry, even if it is a fantastic industry. So let's continue here, unless you guys have any questions. And if you do, feel free to throw them in the comments below. If you're liking this so far, let us know with a 7. That's my favorite number. I love 7s. So just throw a 7 in here so we can make sure that you guys
are. Oh, yeah. 7, 7, 7.
7 is the best. All right, guys. So we're gonna move on. Oh, wow, lots of sevens. Awesome. Glad to see that. All right, home services is the next one. I love home services. This is kind of HVAC. By the way, guys, you were asking me about that. This is kind of like the expansion of HVAC. First of all, again, low hanging fruit opportunities. You guys like these little emojis on the side? I like them. Canva's awesome. Made this on Canva, by the way, guys. Canva's a great tool. Feel free to use it. It's free online. It's amazing. So low hanging fruit. Home service companies mostly market via print media. They need digital exposure. Check out local flyers for low hanging fruit. I literally just showed this to you guys. If you can see this, here's one, for example. Oh, this actually was real estate. Let's see if we can find one here real quick. Here's one right now. An AC company selling their services online. It's like telling you, $49 super saver AC special thing. And it's on this like flyer. As I said, most of them market via print marketing and they need help with digital. Like I said,
By the way, I think a good point to note here is that selling to somebody that's already advertising is much easier than somebody who's not already advertising. And so a good way to find clients is to look at places that they're already advertising on, billboards, magazines, any of those kind of newspaper stuff, and just talk about how ineffective it is and how digital is the answer. And that's going to save you a lot of time. It's reallocating the budget towards paying you rather than somebody else, instead of trying to convince them that they should spend money.
Huge. It's huge. And also a really easy way to kind of express the benefits of digital marketing is tracking. Tracking is the biggest thing for all low hanging fruit. In this right here, can't track anything unless you have like a call rail number, which I promise you none of these do. No way they do. They're just not advanced enough. But unless you have something that's like completely tracking them, you're just not going to know what's working. And it's proven by psychology that self-reporting surveys are not honest. And you've probably been there too. It's like, hey, can you let us know where you came from? You're like, I'm just trying to get my service done. I'll check whatever the hell is there, right? That it happens. It happens. So you could probably say, yeah, I heard a radio ad, even though you've never heard a radio ad from them ever. And now they're thinking, oh, radio works. We got this client, when you totally lied to them. Now, that happens. Self-reporting surveys are not, it's just proven not to be a very strong opportunity. So always go after low-hanging fruit. Like I said, I think before we started the live here, and I'll say it one more time, a low-hanging fruit, the idea, the metaphor is, if you're standing on the ground and there's a fruit in front of you, an apple, and you could pick it, why are you climbing to the top of the tree to get the same apple? You don't need to do that. Go after the ones that are lowest hanging fruit opportunities right there. All right, let's continue, guys. Did I finish this one? I did. Did I finish? I don't even know. Let's make sure that I did. I didn't. So the high transaction value, most services in this industry are priced high for the labor costs, not necessarily the parts or tools required for the job. Thus, the profit margins are usually very high. Someone in St. Petersburg, a city right next to Tampa, a friend of mine, purchased a new house. When he purchased that house, he found out that the roof needed to be redone to be in accordance with like the zoning laws or whatever it may be. So what did he have to do? He called some local places and said, how much would it cost? It was almost 10 times the cost of what it would be if he did it himself. He tried to do it himself. He actually fell off the roof and hurt his leg, learning a lesson there to get the experts to do the job for you. But the idea behind that quick little story is to let you know the profits coming from the labor, not the actual service itself, not what they're doing. It's the labor that's really the high profit margin, and that gives you an opportunity to be successful. Again, this is another needs-based business. Plumbing, flooring, roofing, landscaping, pool services, HVAC, all of those are need-based businesses. When someone has any problems with any of them, where are they going? They're not going on Facebook to randomly hope that there's going to be an ad popping up. They're going on Google and they're searching, my toilet's broken, help me. I need new flooring. I need new carpeting. My roof is falling apart. Help me landscape. My pool is dirty. Clean it. I need new AC. All of those things are Google. Google ads are fantastic for this. Watch out for, guys, home services in rural areas. It's pretty simple here. Less people equals less opportunity. If you live in the middle of Vermont and there's 1,000 people in your entire neighborhood, probably not the greatest business to be going after. It's just not enough search volume. You got to be in a place that's suburban and has opportunity, and there's thousands of searches a day. If you live in a city like Chicago or Tulsa or something of that nature, you're going to have a little bit of a better opportunity because there's more searches. Just keep that in mind. Densely populated areas is kind of what you're looking for. The next one is counseling. I love counseling. This was actually where I got started in the business world. I graduated with a psychology degree. I honestly believed I was going to go into counseling. I more so took my psychology interest and counseling interest into coaching for marketing, which is something that I found to be very powerful for me, and it fulfills me. So that's great. And it means I know a lot about this industry, and I'm happy to share this with you guys as to why I believe it's a really powerful niche. First of all, it's a small business opportunity. Many mental health counselors, psychologists, and psychiatrists run their own small businesses, their own small practices, rather than being tied to a larger company, simply because the profits are not there when you work for a larger company and you're put into a bubble. It's like being in the corporate world versus being an entrepreneur and owning your own business. Everyone here knows about that. That's why we're entrepreneurs. So it makes sense that these people would also want to be entrepreneurs. That means most of them need help with marketing and lead generation. It's pretty simple. They're focusing on their craft and helping their clients. You can come in there and be the substitute to help them out with the problem that they're having, which is marketing and lead generation. Big problem in the counseling industry, especially because a lot of people that need counseling are very, very scared to admit that they need counseling. So you have to have a really good understanding of this business model to be successful. So don't jump into this unless you really are confident that you can learn about this industry and help these customers out. Now, the reason why counseling is so powerful is the high transaction value and the lifetime value of every client that they work with. On average, psychologists charge anywhere from $80 to $250 per session. Psychiatrists could charge more, and they make money from the actual prescriptions that they prescribe as well. Most of their clients across the board return for at least a second visit. On average, it's 3 visits. And most of the time when you get a new client, they offer a free consult or a 3 session package, because a 30 to an hour long consult is not enough for them to get what they need to help these people. So you could see people going to counseling for years, not because they're, broken or anything, but they need someone to lean on. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with needing counseling. I want to make that super clear. There's nothing wrong with that. So make sure you understand that for your marketing. No one's broken. No one's down. You're just trying to help someone, just like we're trying to help business owners with marketing. The options are drastic. Another one of these sub niches that are just so much opportunity here. It's a massive niche with multiple opportunities. You can niche specifically into mental health counseling, psychologists, psychiatrists, marriage counseling, psychotherapy, family counseling, so much more. Now, again, just like in finance, you need to be concerned about compliance. Counseling services are heavily monitored by HIPAA. I'm not going to dive into what HIPAA is now. If you look it up, it's very simple. It's just you can't share medical records. Makes it a little bit harder sometimes to market. Healthcare compliance can be extremely difficult and tricky to deal with, but thankfully it's not like state by state. It usually has the overarching HIPAA. So if you understand HIPAA and their problems with that, you can be successful. If you don't understand it, it cannot hurt to call someone in the industry and just say, hey, I'm getting started in this niche. I'd love to ask you a couple quick questions about HIPAA and marketing for your business, if you don't mind. I'm not here to sell you anything. I just want to know some things. Very simply, ask them a couple questions of what works and what doesn't. You can learn from that and start growing from there. Do not ever take one of those learning calls and make it a sales call. That's how you come off as a bad person. Don't do that. That's not effective. You can learn, though, from those types of calls. One thing I want to mention for counseling, and this is something that I believe will happen here in the next couple of years. I don't know the politics behind it because it could be very messy, but it's something that's very important, and it's called telehealth. How are we all right now in different places in the world speaking and sharing value? I mean, we've got like 50 people on here. Austin and I are in a different state. We're in different places, but we're all being able to share a screen, share some value, and talk with each other about these niches that we believe are really successful. How are we able to do it? Through the online space, right? Through Demio, which is a great tool. Shout out to David Abrams, right? But the idea is, imagine someone being scared to get into their car and drive to counseling and sit down on the couch and talk to the person, or the opportunity to simply sit in their own home and share, their knowledge or their problems over the phone or over the internet. That's telehealth. The problem with telehealth right now is it's totally not allowed for HIPAA because of client relations and privacy. I do believe that will change in the coming years. There's already some people willing to risk their license, which I think is crazy, but there's some people willing to risk their license by doing telehealth now. I've actually worked with some people that have done it and have been incredibly successful because they can charge less, because they're not having people coming into their office, more opportunity. It's just something to consider. If you really want to research it, go for it. But I'm just letting you know that opportunity, it's like a bubble that's ready to burst, and that's in a multi-million-dollar industry. without a doubt, just needs to come over this HIPAA problems. And you guys know politics. Things could take forever in that aspect, but something to just consider, guys. Does anyone have any questions here? What's up, Dave? Dave's showing up. How you doing, brother?
No, that's actually me because we're
Oh,
using Dave's account.
that's so funny. All right. Yeah. So yeah, and Oz, you're totally right. Mental health is definitely at an all-time high. Is telehealth like BetterHelp.com? Yeah, you see some of them online. There's some ones that do it online, like I'll talk to you over the phone. It's totally against HIPAA. So you might want to consider looking into that, but it is a massive opportunity. It's huge. And nothing's going to happen to you, but obviously you don't want to have someone lose their license because of you. That would be a really bad thing to do. Let's continue here. Legal. Now, this goes against what I said in the beginning. So I'm going to clarify why I'm talking about legal in the first place, but there is a lot of asterisks to legal, but it's still such a great niche that I can't leave it out. It would be unfair for me to leave this out, but I do have a lot of asterisks that I want to cover here. First of all, with legal, the legal industry has long relied on traditional advertising, billboard, print, radio, and TV. They also spend thousands on marketing budgets. They spend a lot more on marketing than most other companies do. They also spend more on average in terms of percentage than most companies do. Sometimes you see companies spending anywhere from 2.5% to 10% in advertising. Legal sometimes will spend 25% of their revenue because they know of the opportunities, right? Especially personal injury attorneys. You see those billboards all the time on highways. If you're in an accident, let me know because I'll make you $1 million, right? You see it all the time. This is, again, a needs-based business. Everyone needs legal help at some point or another, whether it's for any sort of niche, whether it's personal injury, whether it is criminal defense, whether it is prosecution, contract law, business law. There's so many things, right? There's always a high search volume for legal keywords in every niche, every single niche, always, pretty much in every city, every state across the country. It's one of those niches that's just really not affected by demographics and areas. It's just strong everywhere. That's what it is. But there's a couple things that you really got to look out for here. One, and I didn't put it here because it's really important, there's a lot of competition for legal. Not only competition in our space, in the DM space, but there's a lot of competition in general. There's like literally 25 to probably 100 personal injury offices in a 5-mile radius in Orlando. All of them make well over $1 million in revenue. That's because in Orlando, there's a lot of accidents, so they're able to get that type of business. But there's sometimes law offices closing because they're opening up in a way too competitive environment. You come in there and try to offer your services, and if they're spending a couple $1,000s in advertising, and there's a company that's huge and spending $50,000 in advertising, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. So be realistic as to what you can do. So do some research first before deciding to jump in. If you go into legal and you realize, man, most of these people are doing, print advertising or traditional advertising. Most of them are not doing digital. I have an opportunity right now. Go after it. Make it happen. Do it. Now, here's a prospecting tip. I don't want you bothering to reach out to the lawyers directly. They're not going to answer you. They're just not. They're too busy on what they're trying to do. They take their time extremely seriously. You have to understand that. Instead, I want you to focus on the office managers or gatekeepers. Keep this in mind. I would never say this for any other niche besides maybe dental or legal because they have people to avoid people like myself and yourself. No one's going to get on a call with you and close with you if they're the direct lawyer and you haven't spoken to anyone else in their business. If you're on LinkedIn, go after the office manager and gatekeepers. You can also go after the lawyer to hit them in all the spaces, but that's where you're going to get the most opportunity. The paralegal, right? The secretary, the office manager. Those are the people that will actually answer you, that will get you an opportunity to speak with the actual attorney if the opportunity presents itself. You want to get a foot in the door with most of these businesses. And the reason why legal is great, obviously they can afford your prices, and you can probably price out higher than most other companies for your funnels, for the email follow-up, for the actual advertising, because you can make them a ton of money if you get them any sort of results. Like I said, you need to watch out because this niche is incredibly competitive. Consider your local network first prior to cold prospecting. You might know someone that's already a lawyer. If you know a lawyer, that lawyer knows other lawyers. That lawyer knows other lawyers because of law school and opportunities. The first client I ever had was a lawyer in Hollywood, Florida. First client I ever had, Hollywood, Florida, a lawyer. When I moved to Orlando to go to college, I asked him if he knew anyone. He went to University of Florida with someone that lives now in Orlando that is an attorney. 7 years later, that is still my client. 7 years later, and I've gotten referrals from him in the network. So legal is a really good niche. There is a lot of asterisks though. So just be considerate and really think about whether this is a niche you want to go after. Now, I know this is a big one. Does anyone have any questions about law or legal in the niche? Nick said, I had a lawyer who referred me to others than any other client. Like I said, lawyers are, people that will refer you if you're doing well for them, especially if you're not competing with them. So legal is a really good niche. There are some asterisks though to consider. So just keep that in mind as we go through this, and let's continue.
Yeah, these guys, by the way, they really respect their time. They get paid a high amount per hour. And so they're always thinking about that itself. Like normal lawyers are between 250 and 500 an hour. And so if you say, hey, come and sit with me at Starbucks for an hour, they're thinking, is this worth 250 to 500 bucks? And so just think about that itself. It's going to be very hard to get in touch with them. So what you need to do is match that. Professionals respect other professionals. And so you have to, in this niche, you have to also respect your time very highly. Exactly. And, you just have your secretary contact their secretary. Like that's how rich people talk, right?
Perception is so important in this niche. You can't pretend to be like, hey, I'm just getting started. Let me work with your company. They don't want to work with people like that. They're, look, no. I know what I'm doing. I can help you. Here's some proof. Let's take a couple minutes to discuss it. I know you're busy. I'm really busy. But at the end of the day, we can create something that's mutually beneficial and grow together. Those are good words to say. Those things ring in their ear rather than kind of the annoying chirp that's like, hey, I can help you. I can help you. I can help you. I'll give you all my time in the world, but I know your time is really limited. Well, I don't want to work with someone like that, right? They're looking down on you. Make them look eye to eye with you. Seriously, it's really important, especially in those high level niches like dental and legal.
Let's continue exactly. Here. And there's a lot of cool ways in which you can position yourself as an authority, but it's necessary that you do that in these niches versus other things like auto part, repair places. Like they might even be intimidated by somebody that is on a pedestal. And so, yeah, it's about being shoulder to shoulder with somebody. And so if you're going to be going down this route, you also have to know that your branding and who you are as an authority figure has to be at its premium. This means that you should be doing retargeting. You should learn how to position your LinkedIn as an authority. Try to get a blue check mark and other things like that on your social media. But ultimately, you want to become a badass in their eyes. And if you end up going to other galas and stuff like that to network with them, put their business cards, because it might be their personal email, onto Facebook and do retargeting at them only at $1 a day, but that's going to take over everything. And now you're going to be positioned as an authority. You know exactly what you're talking about. Beautiful. And the internet sells for you. You don't have to sell yourself.
Powerful. A couple people asked very important questions. They asked about marketing regulations for legal. There are some, not even near the level of mental health or counseling or financials, but there are some, important client attorney privileges and things that you can't say. It's pretty simple though. That's why when you go on a billboard, it says their first name and maybe an initial of their last name and how much money they made. Then may say an actor portrayal, but there's really not too many regulations to be concerned about. Usually you can look up, like someone mentioned, I can look up the guidelines from the local bar association. Absolutely. Also just look at the largest companies in your area. What are they doing? If they're doing something, I promise you it's not illegal. I promise you. Because if they were doing something that's illegal, they would not be successful. I guarantee that. So that's usually the best thing to do. Always looking at what the highest level competition is doing. That person that has the 50 billboards and the ads across the internet and Google and just dominating, what are they doing? What are they saying? What are the words they're using? What's their funnel look like? Use that to your advantage. Use it. It's right there in front of you. Let's continue here. I love photography. This is one of my favorite niches. It's a niche no one thinks about. I don't know why, but I do love this. It's one of my faves. So I kind of want to bring this to the table here. And I'm excited to talk about this. Again, another emerging industry. For years, photographers have relied heavily upon word of mouth and referrals for lead gen. Many still don't know the opportunities provided by a local Facebook advertising. It's just unbelievable. Photographers are needed in so many different sectors, and I'm going to share that with you right now. The high transaction value is there. Wedding and event photographers often charge several $1,000s per gig with upsell and referral opportunities galore. Anytime someone goes to a wedding, right, and there's a photographer there, and someone else is probably getting married within the next year, it's pretty common. Pretty common. I just went to a wedding this past weekend. There's probably 6 people there that were getting married in the next 3 to 6 months. Right there. They all were asking the bride and groom at the time, who's the band? Who's the photographer? Can I get their number? Referrals, opportunities are there. So the lifetime value and the high transaction value, so much opportunistic, so much opportunity. Real estate is also a really good one for photography. It's specifically drone photography most of the time. Like, of course, there's, standard taking pictures of the house, but the new opportunity in photography and real estate is drone photography. And it's really, really powerful. You can also bring that to a photography company if they don't know about the opportunities with drone photography. That's consulting that you just provided free value for. Now they know that you're an authority and they're going to want to work with you. It's very powerful. Family photography, newborn photography, both of those are worth exploring as well. Pretty much, 90% of people that have a kid, they're going to want to have some sort of, newborn photography done within the first 3 months. It's very common. Do you have baby pictures at your house of yourself? Where did those come from? Maybe some of them came from your mom or dad, but a lot of them are high quality newborn photography. It's very common. It's very, very opportunistic. No one is utilizing it. This is such a unique business and really no one's going after it. Prospecting tip here for you guys that I think is super key. Many photographers use Groupon to find new leads and jobs. Reach out to those offering discounts and explain the opportunities that await via digital marketing. With Groupon, you have to discount your service and then you have to pay Groupon about 50% of what you made. So if you're, let's just say simple numbers, you're offering at $100 an hour, you have to offer it at 50% off. Let's just say that's $50 an hour now. And then when someone buys that, you have to pay $25 of that to Groupon. You just gave 75% off of your business. That's not sustainable. The reason why they do that is for referrals and testimonials and opportunities to grow, but it's just not sustainable. So explain to them how you can get them full price clients or 25% off clients using Facebook ads, right? Pretty awesome, pretty successful, very low hanging fruit opportunity right in front of you on Groupon. Now I want you guys to watch out for side gig photographers. You have to understand photography is a huge hobby. A lot of people buy Canons, but they're like financial planners or lawyers or whatever. And on the weekends, they like go shoot, like wildlife photography. If photography is not their main business, it's going to be hard for them to invest in marketing. Simply put, make sure that this is their main business. That's the big key with photography. I really strongly believe photography is one of the best niches out there available today. You can get clients within the next week if you're looking out for photographers. The opportunity is there for you. Take it. Do not scoff this one and think, I've never even heard of photography. What's Alex talking about? I'm telling you guys, this one is so much opportunity. It's unbelievable.
It's funny, Alex. Back when I had started 6K Success a few years ago, I had started this kind of like an app, but it was like a web-based app that I made really mobile friendly called Athens Grad Photos. And this is when I was learning digital marketing. And essentially what I was doing is I was quoting it called the Uber for photographers, where I would essentially have all these Athens grad photographers. And then I had a huge graduating class from University of Georgia. And so I made this website using Calendly and Squarespace. And essentially what I did is I would promote Athens graduation photography through athensgradphotos.com. And then I had all the photographers on the back end ready to take any client that came in through our site. Now they could, of course, look through 5 photos and all this stuff. Essentially, though, where I'm getting at with this is I use digital marketing to find clients that needed photography done. And then I would bring them to a collection of different different photographers that I had on the back end. So I was lead generation essentially. Yeah. And so the reason why this failed for me personally is because of my demographic that I was finding clients for was graduation photography. And I didn't realize that college students don't give a crap about printing out their graduation
No,
photos
no, they
anymore
don't.
like they used to. It used to be like parents, they would want all these different physical copies to send to everybody in the family, like, oh, my son and daughter just graduated college, all this. And so ended up failing because I targeted a niche that wasn't really willing to spend enough money, at least $150 per photo shoot, for this to be profitable. But if I were to do it again, and I think it would work really well, but I don't think I'll ever do it because of EA and proof, would be drone photography, B2B photography. Anytime that like you are selling to a business, whether it's product placement, whether it's for advertising, or whether it's for just branding in general, whether it's like, they want photography for their store, warehouse, whatever. All of that's super powerful, whether it's for real estate agents, like you said, or for promotional videos in any way. I think that niche is big. If you could align and bring in business photographers with their businesses, and you could be that digital marketing middleman, that's a huge lead generation play.
Couple lower hanging fruit also opportunities for photography. One, local schools, middle school, elementary, high school, all of them have photographers. If you call the principal or the office manager and ask them who it is, get their contact info, get in touch with them and let them know, are you guys doing other schools? Are you doing any advertising for newborn photography or others? It's not like photography, by the way. It's like they're different niches, but it doesn't mean like someone that does high school shots can't do newborn. They can. Maybe it's not their like best skill, but they can still do it. Still can offer that. So I would always go for that low-hanging fruit opportunity right there for you. I've actually had a couple photographers from schools that I reached out to. That was the best thing I did. Another one, huge, would be Greek life at schools, at colleges. Every single frat or sorority takes pictures every single semester. Every single semester they do that. They have it on their boards. Like if you see it, they'll put it on their wall of like the classes of the year, et cetera, right? It's very important to them. They need to have a photographer to do that. If you call the sororities, you call the fraternities, you ask to speak to them, do you guys have a photographer? That's one. If they say no, you go to a local photographer and tell him right there, hey, I don't even know you, but I've seen some of your work. It's pretty good. I actually have a huge lead for you if you want to make that connection. Huge value right up front. Now they're going to want to work with you. Now you can help them with other marketing opportunities as well. If they already have the photographer, get in touch with him and see if you can help him with other marketing opportunities. Photography is great. I love it. Really, really opportunistic. And I'm going to kind of touch upon it here. And I think it might be the next one. It might be the last one, though. It's the last one. So the next one is fitness, guys. Fitness is a really growing industry. Not just in the marketing world, just in general. It seems like fitness is one of those businesses that is just evolved in such a unique way, right? Like in the 80s, you'd have those videos with the girls with the afro hairs and like doing the dances, right? And then in the 90s, it started moving into like products, right? Like in-home products that no one ever used. It would be like in their garage for like 5 months. Then it started moving into like P90X in the 2000s, right? And like Insanity and like infomercials. Then CrossFit exploded. And all the while, what has still remained a staple, Gold's Gym, LA Fitness, etc. There's just so much opportunity in the fitness world. Also, not even to mention, I didn't even say this, one-on-one coaching, huge. So many people are scared to go to the gym because they have no idea what the heck to do. They're willing to pay someone to come to their house or go to the gym with them and work with them. It's a huge business. So as I said, there's multitude of options here. It's a massive niche, enormous opportunity, an enormous amount of variations. You can prospect to gyms, coaches and trainers, fitness events and venues, and much more. In my experience, gyms are extremely difficult unless they're mom and pop gyms. I've worked with a couple gyms, and I'm being honest here, did not have very good success. The numbers were really good, but the follow-up that they had was horrible. You got to remember, you're doing lead generation, not sales generation. When we got them 70 people in a month to take their free whatever 7-day challenge or whatever it was to come in, maybe only like 20 people came in, and they weren't happy with that. They weren't happy, but it wasn't our fault because they didn't pay us for the follow-up, right? They didn't pay us to make the follow-up sequences. So it's something to consider in fitness. It's a lead generation business, but they may not have enough time to do proper follow-up. So consider that something to think about. but there's a lot of opportunity. I'd go after personal trainers and coaches specifically because that's their job and they need specific people. I like that one a lot. I think it's really powerful. Again, this is a needs-based business. Fitness is a necessity in everyone's life, whether we want to admit it or not. Fitness keywords are always has high search volume everywhere. Again, one of those things that's just kind of across the nation. Doesn't matter what demographic, what the area is. There's always high fitness keywords. The great thing about fitness for marketers like ourselves in terms of the actual marketing, it's great both on Facebook and on Google. There's some guy, I don't know if he's an EA, but a lot of people know him, AJ Rivera. He's built his entire business on teaching other fitness professionals how to build their business. That's what he's done. And he's brilliant, really smart guy, and he's really helped a lot of people. He's done that because he figured out fitness is a fantastic niche. There's some guy online now that I see a lot. I don't know his name, unfortunately. He does like Kino Body. I don't know anything about this, to be honest. But like this dude's ripped out of his mind. He's like telling you like on a video, like what is going on. The dude clearly gets it and he's getting very good results for his clients as well. And there's a lot of people that want to be like AJ Rivera or this Kino Body guy, but they're not marketers. So they don't know what they're doing. Can you help them? That's the idea. They know fitness, you know marketing, come together, make a mutually beneficial agreement that's going to help you guys both grow. Prospecting tip again, just like photographers, fitness professionals are littered across Groupon, even more than photographers. Use that to your advantage and reach out. There's literally the same offer for 500 fitness people. Like you go on Groupon, you're like, well, I don't even know which one to pick because they're all the same. So what do? Make someone stand out. In marketing, you want to be the sore thumb. You don't want to be Waldo. You don't want to have to be looked for and found. You want to be easily available, readily available at all times. Make that very clear to your clients. And then finally, watch out for, again, those larger gyms like LA Fitness, Crunch Fitness, Orange Theory. They're not going to work with you. There's no way to sugarcoat this. You're not going to go into an LA Fitness that has 1,000 members and tell them, hey, I can help you with marketing. That would be your only client, and you'd have to spend all your time with them. It's not going to happen. Don't go after those companies. It's just not worth your time. Go after either the mom and pop gyms, the local smaller gyms that need your help, or the specific fitness trainers or coaches or types of events. CrossFit gyms are great. CrossFit gyms are usually owned and operated by like a 1 to 5 man team. It gives you a great opportunity, and it's really new and unique. It's a totally different like fitness experience. I've never personally done it, to be honest, but when people are interested in fitness, not in a generic term, but they want like to be active, CrossFit's a great alternative. And that's why it's such a huge business. Let me see if there's any questions here before I continue here.
Yeah, no, it's funny, Alex. My best friend, he's the general manager of all the crunches in Tampa and Atlanta. And so, I couldn't even get digital marketing for them as a client, even though he's like my best friend and he's part of like, he knows all the owners. They're all his best friends as well. It's like, dude, it was so locked out already. It was really hard to get a big name gym as a client. I was pushing. However, I would recommend, as Roger and Jim say, all these very unique gyms like yoga studios, karate, judo, those are great clients.
MMA, all of them are really great. EA member Alan Belcher, former UFC fighter, he's built an entire business on just teaching gym owners how to market their business effectively. I worked with him for a little bit. Great guy, very smart, and helps a lot of people. All of those niches are incredibly powerful. At the end of the day, you have to understand those are sub niches of fitness though, right? So like yoga is not as big as CrossFit is. Yoga is not as big as LA Fitness is, obviously. Does that mean that they're unavailable? No. Does it mean that your marketing may be a little bit more difficult? I think so. I'm also very outside of the yoga demographic, so it's hard for me to really touch on it. Like I've never done yoga before. I'm incredibly not flexible. So I can't really talk about yoga so much. Maybe you guys know yoga better than I do. You go there and like every class is packed to the max every time. Screw what I say then. Just go for it. You know, I don't always have to be 100% correct. If you believe in something, make it happen. It's okay. I don't mind being wrong in a certain case. It's totally fine. I promise you. I think MMA gyms and like karate and all that stuff, very powerful, especially for kids, women's self-defense, really good. All that kind of stuff is great. The Pricing is a little bit concerning. That's like a little bit, nerve wracking. It could be anywhere from $25 per class to like $150 in a month of management. So you got to be realistic with the price anchoring. Can you really help them and get them, their return on the investment back if you're averaging them spending $2,000 to $3,000 with you? Will it happen? Be realistic. Be realistic. Let's continue here with the final niche, guys. And if you've loved this, again, guys, let me know in the comments. Just throw a 7. Just love seeing those. Want to hear that you guys are loving this. Let's move on here to event planning. I saved this one for last, not because it's the best, but it truly is one of the strongest niches available right now that really is so rarely utilized. It's unbelievable. It's just shocking how few people are reaching out to event planning. I cannot recommend this enough. So let's dive in here and talk about this. One, small business opportunity. Most event planners run their own small business, so many need help with marketing and lead generation. Alternatively, large venues like wedding halls, synagogues, churches, they all have their own in-house event planner. Most of them do. So prospect to those venues as well. Speak to that person at the event planner for any of your local wedding halls, synagogues, churches, event halls, anything like that. You could speak to those people. Maybe you won't become a client for them, but guess what? They're well-connected individuals. Event planners have references and partners in literally every niche you can imagine related to event planning. Photographers, musicians, bands, caterers, and more. You can build a referral system just from event planning, and you can land more clients that way. It's so unbelievably powerful. You call, Helen, who works at the local church, who just did 15 events in the first half of, 2017. Where did she get all the people to work with? Where did she get the landscaper to make sure that they do the lawn before, they have the pumpkin patch in October? Where did they get the band that did the local event, for the free concert outside? Where did they get the inflatable sign of the new, free membership thing? Like, you got to think of all these things that are opportunistic available from event planning. It's such an unbelievable niche. Way too many people pass it. Again, multitude of options. Event planning is a relatively large niche with a lot of sub niches. You can niche specifically into just party planners, into wedding planners, special occasion planning, and so on. Of those, I think the best, without a question, is wedding planning. Wedding planning is a huge burden. If any of you guys have been married, and I'm sure you know what wedding planning is like. I'm personally married, and wedding planning was a true disaster. It was such a terrible thing to have to deal with. But our wedding planner made it a lot easier, and she knew a lot of people, gave us. And by the way, when I say well connected, it's not like they only have one person. It's like, okay, Alex and Shira, are you guys ready now to talk about the bands? Here's 10 that we have that you guys can pick from. Ready for photographers? Here's 20. Do you understand how opportunistic that is? There's literally leads right in front of your face, right there. All of those people. All of them. Event planning is not just a niche itself, but all the niches that come from event planning make it so powerful, and probably the best niche of all the niches that we've spoken about here today. Now, make one thing very clear to you guys. You got to watch out for large event planning companies. If they're already very successful, they're probably not going to want to listen to your pitch. And those are the large companies that are doing, hundreds of events per year. They've got no problem with filling up their calendar. It's not worth your time. What you can do is you can call those companies and ask them what they're doing that's working or not. Just in a straight up learning scenario. Be honest with them. Hey, Stacy, my name's Alex. I'm getting started in digital marketing for event planning. I know you guys are super successful. I don't want to waste any of your time. I just wanted to know if I could ask you, a couple questions real quick so I can learn a little bit more. Would you mind doing that? There's 2 things that Stacy can say. One, screw off, okay, brush it off onto the next one. Or, hey, Alex, yeah, no problem. What can I help you with? You ask a couple questions about their customer avatar. What's the best marketing they've done? What's the biggest struggle in their business? And boom, you have some really great low-hanging fruit opportunity and knowledge about the business right there in front of you. And that works for every industry. It's always allowed to call someone and ask. It can never, ever hurt to ask. If you guys have thick skin and you're okay to get someone to say no, you're fine. I want to give you guys a quick side story about that very fast. Chris Rock told me about, or not told me specifically, but said a story that I think is so powerful here. He was on the side of the LA highway. His car broke down. He got out of the car after he pulled over and he was waving to people to stop. No one stopped. Why? Well, he's like, all right, screw it. No one's going to help me. Let me put my car in neutral and start pushing. As soon as he did that, several cars stopped and wanted to help him. Why? Does anyone know why? Very simply, people like to help people that are trying to help themselves. No one wants to say, hey, help me, help me, help me, help me. No one wants to help that person. If someone's hustling and working hard and trying to make something happen and they ask me a question, I want to help them. That's important. I want to help people that are trying to help themselves because I know what it's like to be stuck on a question that you don't know. So when you call someone up and ask them for help because you're trying to learn more, they probably will want to help you if they have the time. If they're super busy, they'll probably tell you, hey, give me a call back later. Or they'll tell you to screw off and you'll brush it off and move on. They're not something you want to speak to anyways. But don't ever be afraid to ask, ever, please. So that is it, guys. I appreciate you all very well for being here with us. It was truly fantastic. I loved every second of this. Was really, really a great training that we did here today. Austin, thank you guys for having me. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and we'll stop that. And there we go.
So, Alex, I want to wrap it up here with asking you one main question. Then we can get to, maybe we'll take 3 minutes of questions here from everybody on the live call.
Yep.
My biggest question is, we just learned about all these niches. What, 10, right?
Yep.
So there's almost like a information overload. You guys feel like you have a giant hose in your mouth, and we turn it on the fire hydrant, and you're just like about to blast your head off. How can we take all of this information and know which niche is right for us? Right. If we look at all 10 of these and they're all very profitable, how do we decide?
Great. So that's a really important question, and I think it's key. First of all, I always go with past experience first. I think that's really big and vital to your initial niche. I spoke to someone this past week in POD, and he joined because he was really struggling with niching. And that's one thing that I do pretty well, and I can help you guys out. And he was talking to me, and he's like, I just got started, and I moved into real estate. And, I took the bar, but I decided I didn't want to do legal anymore. So I jumped into marketing and went to real estate. And I was like, do you understand like the how I don't understand where you're coming from here? If you've already know business models in legal, why are you going after a business model you know nothing about? Like, why are you putting the learning curve so heavy for you? It doesn't make any sense. Talk about whatever your past experience is. If you don't have any experience at all, then you need to go for whatever is the lowest hanging fruit in front of your face. Where can you stand on the floor and grab the apple right in front of you? If you go through those 10 niches that we went through in this training and you're like, man, I know like 17 gyms right around the corner from me, that's where you should start. That's where you should start. When we say niching, that doesn't mean that has to be your niche for the rest of your life. It means you should really hone this in on prospecting for at least a month. At least a month, if not 6 to 8 weeks. Give yourself some time to learn a little bit about the industry and start prospecting to it. LinkedIn, Facebook, ads, whatever you want to do. Make sure that you're going after it. There's no race here. There's enough fish in the sea for all of us to be successful. There's like 40 people on this call right now. Austin and I have both done digital marketing as well. There's probably 90% of the people in EA do digital marketing. It doesn't matter. There's enough fish in the sea for us to be all successful. I promise you that. No matter what the niche is, you got to go at based on 1, your past experience, 2, your local area, the lowest hanging fruit opportunities you have, and 3, what resonates with you the most. What business do you care about or know about or think about that gives you that excitement? You don't want to be an entrepreneur to be just making money and hate your life because you work with people that you hate. You're trying to do this so you can help other businesses. You can create time and financial freedom for yourself, put food on the table, right? Provide for your family. All those things are really important. But ultimately, you're doing it because you can help these other businesses. If you can't help the businesses, find a different job that will make you money. Find a different job. Because it doesn't have to be digital marketing. Digital marketing, you have to go out there and help the businesses. I think what I would do if I were you and you watch this training today and you watch it back tomorrow and you kind of go through what the process is I would first focus on, again, the lowest hanging fruit and what is available on Groupon. Because I think that's like the easiest way to really find something. Like I said, like if you stumbled on this in your local area, you got Auto Source magazine, you're like, I know a pretty decent amount about auto. Maybe I'll do a quick search of the local area. What's the best, marketing strategy they're utilizing? Let me get some, upfront value, and boom, let me just reach out to all these people. You've got months of opportunity here. Months of opportunity. why not just go after it? Don't rack your brain over it, but definitely do not try to niche in every single niche. Don't go after 10. It's going to kill you. It's going to make you absolutely insane. You have to at least pick, at most, I would say 3 at a time. But I'm really stringent on the idea of prospecting heavily in a week or 2 week span to one, and then maybe the next one in a week to 2 week span. But usually I'd go with at least a month so you can really figure it out.
Awesome. And so I would say personally on this is like, what gets you fired up to wake up every single morning and help these people? I got a buddy of mine who is trying to go down the audiologist niche, really specific, right? Helping, he's like, lots of opportunity here, right? There's the baby boomers are coming up. A lot of them are losing hearing. They need help. Audiologists are going to become more in demand than ever before. And so he's like, logically, that's a very good niche. And I'm like, dude, does that get you fired up to like go and help audiologists though every morning? Like, do you daydream and night dream about campaigns for audiologists? I think that's something that's so important is you got to have the passion for that industry as well. Like personally, I literally like have a journal next to my bed, and I get dreams about funnels I make for the Entrepreneur Alliance and Proof. Like it just fires me up that much. 100%. And imagine if you could do that same thing for fitness, for photographers. Like you have like almost like visions of what that looks like for digital marketing and that group. So think about that when it comes to your industry. Does working with lawyers get you really fired up, or does fitness or event planning, like all of these are great niches and you can make money in any of them. But personally, what's going to get you the most thrilled? I think that's one of the most important filters to look through when finding a niche.
And that was something that I was doing when I was building out prospecting on demand. I had like a overarching entrepreneurs in general, but then I realized like, where's my experience with marketers, right? Where am I being fulfilled? By helping other people. So if I'm helping other people, my past experiences in marketers, I should be focused on marketers because that's who I can help best. And that's what I can go to sleep every night feeling good about what I'm doing, which is so key to me. And waking up every morning being excited. When I woke up this morning, I'm like, hell yeah, we've got an EA masterclass to crush. We're going to help a bunch of people today. It's going to be amazing. That's what I do every day. I wake up to POD and I'm loving it. This is my life. I love doing this. It fulfills me every day. If you're not feeling that way, there needs to be something to change. You don't want to be someone that hates your job because, but I'm an entrepreneur. It's whatever. That's silly. You actually have a choice. You've given yourself a choice rather than being forced into a bubble by a corporate job. You have a choice, so make a choice that you like. I want to answer some of these questions here.
Well, let's keep the questions around niching.
Yeah, so Jonathan asked about e-commerce niche. So that's like the overall, no, I don't like it. Why? First of all, there's so many different businesses in e-commerce. Anything's e-commerce that you sell online, right? So like EA is e-commerce technically, right? Because you're selling a product online. POD is e-commerce because I'm selling something online. Selling t-shirts and shirts and shoes online, all that's e-commerce. Jewelry, all that's e-commerce. So that's not a good niche. Like it's a type of business model. It's not a niche, But why don't I like it? Most e-commerce businesses, you're changing your inherent business model. Most marketers are lead generation specialists, not sales specialists. Meaning if you're doing e-commerce, what does that change it from? It's not lead generation anymore. The benchmark that you're going after is sales. And that's harder. It's a lot harder than leads. Period. End of story. Doesn't mean you can't be successful. Obviously, it's successful. There's hundreds of thousands of people that are insanely successful on Shopify. That's not me, though. I've never really had some good success on Shopify. A lot of people ask me about it. I'm like, I don't know. I really have not done it. So I can't help you. What I can tell you, though, is that average transaction value, usually very low. I did work with a company that sold jewelry, and we were doing really well for them. But then they realized, hey, we can do this ourselves, and we don't need you. Well, that sucked, because we were doing good. So the competitive advantage is too tough for me. I don't like e-commerce. Doesn't mean you can't do it. I just don't like it personally.
I'm going to back you up on this, Alex, because so my very first client for Facebook ads was e-commerce, and with my management fee was $1,500. We had a $3,000 ad spend on that. With that $3,000 ad spend, we turned it into $30,000 within 30 days. Pretty crazy results. They ended up loving that so much that they went and hired somebody for an in-house team to run all of our ads. Now, this is a separate subject on like how crappy that was, but I could no longer use my insights on what I did for that campaign for future clients, right? Like that was an amazing result. That case study rocked it. And I can now use that to like back up that I know what I'm doing. However, it's not like that can get similar results with a similar campaign, right? So it's not translatable across other clients, which I think was one of the biggest benefits of niching down is that if I have a whole bunch of chiropractors, they all offer the same service and I can use a very similar campaign to make get results for them.
Yep.
On the other hand, I think that this is also a conversation on what our service entails. There's two sides to digital marketing, and as we talked about for most of this is traffic. So we're talking about traffic for almost all of this niching conversation today. We're not talking about conversion optimization.
Yep.
And so those are two separate services, but when we go into the e-commerce space, we're almost wrapping them up into the same thing, and they're not the same thing.
It's really hard too.
Yeah, conversion is a lot harder, and there's a lot. It's just a different mindset. And so for EA, I'm mainly conversion, and then Troyer is our Facebook ad specialist. So he sends in the traffic, and then I take that traffic, all of our leads, and I build funnels that help convert and provide a lot of value along the way. And it takes a completely separate mindset.
Exactly.
And so for, let's say, we were talking about the fitness niche, right? Like one of the biggest downsides that you talked about, Alex, was that you send them all of this traffic and then they suck at converting it. And that's not your problem. You talked about how where there was a good one-liner you said, but basically like we're leads and not sales. That's the basis of it. And so you have to make sure that the 16-year-old girl at Crunch Fitness that is working the secretary desk can close the leads that you send to her phone. And so that's the conversion side. And so we need to make sure that in our consultations that we're defining where our service begins and ends, and they need to take the baton and continue that. With e-commerce, they expect you to take the baton and then you also continue running and finish the race. We're not here to finish the race for you.
It's so key. If you don't understand this and don't tell this to your consultations, this is exactly how you lose clients. I'm always talking about prospecting. That's my thing, bringing on new clients. But what's more important than that? Retention. You have to keep your clients. You don't bring on a client and get paid $1,000 to lose that $1,000 the next month. You want to be paid $1,000. You expect if you bring on a client, at least $12,000 is coming in over the next 12 months. At least has to be that way. And it should be more because you should have upsells, right? But if you're not doing it correctly and your average is 1 to 2 to 3 months, there's a reason why that's happening. The biggest reason is probably because you did not clarify what the expectation should have been. And it's most of the time lead gen versus sales gen. So this is key. If you're working with a company that they're going to have to do follow-up, whether it's financial, legal, fitness, event planning, doesn't matter. Most of them are lead gen. You got to make it extremely clear to them, look, I'm bringing you leads. You have to be able to follow up with them. Have you handled something like this before? They have to be honest with you. They're like, honestly, I have not. Say, look, here's a couple options that you have. Either hire a VA, hire my team to do an email marketing thing for you, or we will hire someone for you to do it. It's just more consulting and more upsells, and they'll probably have to pay you more, but you have to understand. That's why I learned this the hard way. I lost that gym client because of that. We did an amazing job. We got them 70 leads at like $26 per lead for fitness when their lifetime average could be a couple $1,000. And they were so mad. They were like, nope, you guys did a terrible job. We didn't get anyone to come in. It was lead gen, not sales. So maybe I didn't express that enough. I learned that the hard way. I don't want you guys to learn that the hard way. You got to understand that. I think it's really important.
Awesome. Well, Alex, dude, thank you so much for hopping on the call today. I think this is one of our best masterclasses. Give up a giant round of applause. Do a bunch of sevens for Alex here for hopping on this call here today. Alex, if they want to continue this conversation with you, where is the best place to do that at?
You could friend me on Facebook at facebook.com/Schlinsky. You can also attend my free Facebook group, Prospecting Powerhouses. Pretty easy to find online. If you want to talk about POD, feel free. It's mirrored. That's why I put it on the wrong side. But yeah, guys, I'll add the link here for Powerhouses in a second. But other than that, I really appreciate you guys joining us today. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys learned a lot. The thing that really matters to me at the end of the day is that you don't just do this. One ear and out the other. It happens too much. I know there's a lot of information on EA. A lot of it's really, really good. A lot of people that I look up to and respect a ton are on EA and share great value. But when you come on here and you spend an hour and 40 minutes of your day to be on here, and Austin and I spend an hour and 40 minutes of our day to be on here, you better be taking action with this. You better be. You better not be just doing this, one ear and out the other, and then asking me in a week from now, hey, what niche should I do? Please don't do that. Please take action. Please learn from this. Learning is only there when you take action on it. Best practices mean nothing until you take action. So guys, please take action from this. Feel free to ask me any questions. I appreciate you all. Thanks so much for having me today. It was fantastic. I loved it, guys.
Awesome. Hey, guys, with that, choose your niche here today. Make sure that you dive in. You don't tiptoe around the niche. Say that you're going to be the best digital marketer for whatever you want to do. And don't look back. Make sure you stay in that niche and you continue staying consistent with your actions of becoming the best digital marketer for that niche. So with that, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next masterclass.
See you guys.
Now, here are some interesting facts about the mastermind, which give you an idea of how important it is and how necessary that you embrace this principle and make use of it in attaining success in your chosen occupation. First of all, it is the principle through which you may borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps the capital of other people in carrying out your own plans in life. It is the principle through which you can accomplish in 1 year more than you could accomplish without it in a lifetime if you depended entirely upon your own efforts for success.